Okay. Hey, Rhapsody. This is Ron Wilkins. I'm here doing the casting call and letting you know that I am one of the ultimate Rhapsody fans. So, want to introduce myself to you. My name is Ronald Wilkins. I am the adjunct instructor of low brass, trombone in particular. I figured I'd bring a horn and show it off. Along with also teaching jazz studies and improvisation here at the University of Texas at San Antonio. I also teach at St. Mary's University here in town, along with Northwest Vista College, which is one of the junior colleges in the Alamo Community College District. I finished my master's degree as of about a year or so ago, and I am currently working as a professional musician. I am playing the Disney musical The Lion King over here in San Antonio at the Majestic Theater, where I'll be playing bass trombone and tuba. My main instruments are trombones. I also play euphonium or tenor tuba along with bass tuba. I sing, play some piano, and I'm going to talk to you about Rhapsody and what it means to me. So, as far as favorite activities and hobbies, my favorite activities are playing music. I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. I work with students on a regular basis. I've got about a studio of 25 to 30 private students that I work with, along with teaching here at the UTSA, where I have about 10 to 12 students that I work with, and also teach an introduction to jazz improvisation class. So that all keeps me pretty busy, along with the other colleges. And then, of course, I do performances. I play with different ensembles, whether classical or jazz or pop, between the San Antonio and Austin area. My instruments are made by the Edwards Instrument Company, and I work with them as a representative. So I travel pretty much all over the country at times doing workshops, master classes, and performances. I play jazz festivals, conventions. Last year I was touring Russia with my jazz quartet, the Ron Wilkins Quartet, and had a chance to go over for about 2 weeks in March and have the most incredible time playing for the Russian people. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Anyway, as far as hobbies go, aside from, of course, playing music, I like to exercise when I can. I enjoy fine wine. I enjoy good food, obviously. And I also like working with people. For instance, Jesus, who is holding the camera there for me, is assisting me on this. Say hi, Jesus.
Hello.
There he is. He's my main. So anyway, I like working with the students here. I still enjoy also reading. Love a good book. As of late for me, I've been reading the Billy Strayhorn biography called Lush Life, which is a phenomenal book, and I had a chance to actually work with Mr. Strayhorn's nephew, Larry, who lives here in town. We just got through performing the Duke Ellington Billy Strayhorn Nutcracker Suite last weekend for its premiere performance here in San Antonio. I worked with a couple of gentlemen with a music company and music group here called Tempest Music, and I booked and lined up the musicians, and we put on an incredible show. It was amazing. Wish you guys could have been here for it. In fact, I used Rhapsody to go ahead and download the Duke Ellington 3 Suites album, which I was able to go ahead and check out the Ellington Strayhorn Nutcracker from that, and also go ahead and send out CDs, after I purchased it, of course, to the guys in the band so that way they can go ahead and hear it. So we now had the means to be able, because of Rhapsody, to go ahead and perform this work. So it works for me. I live with it. I love it. And let's go on. What's a typical day in my life like? Well, I start off in the morning, get up, get a shower, and then head on over to go teach. I teach on Mondays Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays over at different high schools in the city and around the San Antonio area. I'll go in as a private tutor and work with band directors and with their students to help them to be able to better appreciate low brass in terms of working on their trombone or their euphonium, their tenor trombone, or tuba. I help them to go ahead and work on their tryout music, that way they can go ahead and audition for different things like the Texas All-State Bands and Orchestras. We have a huge convention that happens here in February, so I'm working with a lot of kids. Then, of course, after I do that in the morning at the different high schools, I come over to either here at UTSA, or I'm over at St. Mary's University on Thursdays, or on Fridays I'm over at Northwest Vista College, and I'm also teaching private lessons over there and some music appreciation courses. So that keeps me pretty busy as well. Do I have a favorite coffee shop or restaurant? Starbucks. Dude, eat, sleep, and breathe that place. I always hit that, get my morning breakfast sandwich and a coffee, and then I am off and running. In fact, I know quite a few folks who work at the Starbucks who are musicians who every time I come in will talk shop with me about where I'm playing next, where's the latest gig, what's going on in my life, and we get to go ahead and share some of the moment. So it's pretty exciting. Occasionally I'll have something that I'm listening to because I have a set of Bluetooth headphones that I purchased to go with my BlackBerry Storm telephone. And that way I'll go ahead and I'll use the MP3 player on my Storm to go ahead and listen to some really cool stuff. And occasionally, if I want to share some of the music, I just pass the phones over to one of the guys there and we get a chance to jam a little bit. Since I've gotten on with Verizon and with BlackBerry, and I've used the Storm on a regular basis, I've been able to download some 1,400 to 1,500 songs by different artists. Primarily jazz, but I'm also doing a lot of listening to other artists as well. But we'll get into that in just a minute. Anyway, favorite places to hang out? Aside from my house, if I'm out and about and I'm performing, there's some places here in town like Carmen's de la Calle Cafe. That's a really nice place to go to and perform. Occasionally I'll hit Jim Cullum's Landing because I have friends over there who play and perform there, along with also another lovely place in town called the Boardwalk Bistro. Wonderful Mediterranean type cuisine, fantastic hang for jazz in town. We're pretty fortunate here in San Antonio because we have a jazz station based out of Trinity University, one of the top private universities in the country. The station's called KRTU, and they have a fantastic jazz selection and collection. And they play jazz 17 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I feel pretty fortunate that as an educator as well as a performer, I have an avenue with the station to be able to go ahead and do recording, as well as being able to perform, as well as be able to let them know, let the station know, as well as the folks involved, about where I'm performing. So that way it keeps things happening. As far as weekend spots or favorite friends to hang out with, if I'm not gigging or performing, it's nice to be able to just chill out at home with my wife Rhonda, who is working on her master's degree in history. And she has been checking out some of the stuff that I've gotten on Rhapsody as well, and she appreciates it. She doesn't really use it as much as I do because I'm literally eating, sleeping, and breathing music. So therefore, I need to make sure that I've got a service that's going to provide me with the best possible sounds that I need for not only my personal listening enjoyment, but also when I go ahead and I do some of my classes, I've actually downloaded songs from Rhapsody. Here's an example. I was teaching a music appreciation course. I was helping out one of the instructors with teaching over at Northwest Vista College, and this one day I was doing a lecture on hip hop. So a couple of nights beforehand, I went to Rhapsody. I downloaded some Gil Scott-Heron, who was I consider one of the original founders of street poetry or hip hop. And then I also downloaded some Beyonce and some Jay-Z. Also checked out a little bit of Lil Wayne, some 50 Cent, and was able to go ahead and use those as part of my lecture in talking about the past, the present, and perhaps the future of hip hop music in America, as well as its global influences. So, I mean, stuff like that, I mean, was wonderful because in part of my studies, especially on my master's degree work, I found that being able to use sources to be able to get downloads and to be able to get reference material in order to use for teaching can be just valuable or invaluable. So that's what I wanted to do. And it worked out that I was able to have my subscription to Rhapsody, and I could either go in and do it on the laptop. What I did was I used my Storm phone along with my little Motorola EQ7 speaker system, so I was able to go ahead and sync that in with my Bluetooth and play these cuts for the students, which really impressed them that the level and diversity of the music from early back in the 70s to where it is today, how much it's changed, how much it's diversified, how much the artists have changed. It's nice to be able to have those conveniences with modern technology, and I try to use them as much as I can. So Rhapsody literally helped me teach my classes, and it makes that big of a difference for me as well as my students. All right.